The reason for this video is because a Muslim has asked a question of atheists about evolution. I thought that Muslims believed in evolution and weren't creationists, but I guess you learn something new every day. I assume that there are a lot of Muslims that do believe in evolution, the same as there are a lot of Christians that do believe in evolution. But nevertheless, I'll go ahead and answer these questions. He says he wants to get all these responses together and make some sort of video analysis of it. And that's fine with me. I haven't watched any of the other videos since he doesn't want us collaborating with each other. So these are all my ideas. These are all my beliefs on the subject. Although he says that he's going to have an open mind, I don't see how this is possible, since the Quran says many times that you should steer away from things that would cause you to doubt. Certainly having an open mind would be something that would cause you to doubt your beliefs. It says if you doubt, then you're a disbeliever, and if you do believe and you become a disbeliever, then Allah will have no forgiveness for you. So, I'm not sure how honest this guy's going to be. It really doesn't matter to me either way. So we'll see in his response. Before I go on, I'd like to say that any mistakes I make in this video can be attributed directly to me. I should be blamed for everything. But if anything good comes out of this video, it's certainly the doing of the invisible pink unicorn. Peace be unto our holy whoos. So his first question is, why do atheists think it's so important to use evolution as the disproof of God? Well, you cannot disprove God. You might disprove some gods, but we all don't believe in some gods. But of course, it's the general idea of God that we don't believe in. But I can even say something specific, like the Brownians, like in this puzzle back here. They're actually little men that live in brown objects that shoot brown rays into your eyes. They have radars on top of their heads, and they have invisibility shields. Now, no amount of evidence you could ever bring could disprove me. The same as the theory of gravity does not disprove the flying spaghetti monster. He actually might hold up the moon and pull down everything else. I mean, who knows? But what's important about the theory of evolution is that it gives us a reasonable stance to believe that how we came here by natural means. If it was impossible for us to have come here by natural means, certainly it was something supernatural. Therefore, the belief in at least some sort of supernatural being that caused us to come into existence would then be the most rational choice. But in the light of evolution, we most likely did come here by natural means. This is the most rational explanation of it. He also says that the differences between monkey DNA, I'm not sure, he didn't post any links of going to any data. The only links that he did post were of the Quran and giving money to some organizations and such. But I assume that there are lots of differences between monkey DNA and ours. Well, here's some DNA that I've just thrown together. You see it's got 80 molecules, and each one has one of 4 colors. Now I've made some mutations to it, and you'll say here is the new mutated DNA, and it has 21 differences to the original. Now, since there's 21 differences and 80 possible combinations of 80 possible positions, and it's 3 possible changes for each one, that's 240 to the 21st power to 1 against that this kind of mutation would have taken place. If we assume, for the sake of argument, that all of these would have had to occur at the same time, that's very unlikely that this new organism would have came about. However, if you think that I have changed each one of these molecules individually, you would be wrong. Actually, all I did was make a simple transposition, and the odds of that happening is much, much lower. I mean, it could be, depending on the mutation mechanism, it could be like 100,000 to 1 against. So certainly not improbable at all. Especially if you consider the number of galaxies in the universe, say about 5 billion, and the number of stars in each galaxy, again about 5 billion. Even if the odds are 25 billion to 1 against that life would have arisen, yeah, it's still pretty good odds. You wouldn't expect that it wouldn't. I mean, it would be an equal chance. Okay, and he also states that it's the number of molecules in a baby, the number of cells, the number of molecules in a baby, and the organization of it is extremely unlikely. It would have taken an infinite amount of time, infinite amount of energy and matter and stuff to form the baby. And I do agree. If somebody says, for instance, that they would take a puzzle they put it in a box, they shook it up, and they threw it on the ground, and the puzzle came out already put together perfectly, then I would point them to your video. Of course, that's not how babies are formed. Life starts a piece at a time, getting more complicated as it goes, over 100 million years. And of course, that's completely reasonable. So your analogy of the hurricane going through the junkyard, making the 747, or the baby somehow getting a bunch of molecules together and you're throwing it out and the baby appears. I'm not sure you really understood evolution. You said that you used to believe in it. I'm not sure that you actually understood it. That's a common argument against evolution, which of course is completely false. That's not the theory of evolution at all. And you say, finally, why do we use science? Well, if I had some agenda, I wouldn't use science. I would say, nature works in mysterious ways. Ooh, it's beyond your understanding. So you better not question. Well, of course, that sounds awfully familiar. That's what theists say all the time. You can't understand God, don't question Him, don't test Him at all. But I don't have some agenda. I don't have atheist flags being waved around. I don't have a bunch of atheist links down here on my site or anything. Actually, I'm in search of the truth. That's why I use science. Science, at least, seems to me to be the most sure way of getting the knowledge about the universe. No, we can just be dishonest and say, well, don't question whatever I say, or I had a dream that it was true last night. Well, that's not going to really say anything. So I think we ought to stick with science. However, for the Muslims that also want to stick with science, I need you to explain to me about flying horses. Now, I know that Muhammad flew up into heaven on a horse. They are apparently even hoof prints of this horse that he left behind when he took off into the air. And actually, this is the horse that prophets have had before. I think even Jesus had this horse, if I'm not mistaken. This horse of fire. So yes, please explain to me this flying horse. I think you're going to have a power-to-weight ratio problem. The muscle mass is just not going to be sufficient. So anyway, thanks for your questions. I hope I answered them all.